In this episode, it's a little bit of a one-trick pony. We're talking intake manifold. Welcome to Straight Six Fan. I'm Grant Tommy, helping you build your hot rod and your confidence without a ton of money. And today we are trying to get caught back up to where we thought we were going to be 3 weeks ago. If you remember, I dropped the socket down into the oil pan. Don't remember that whole fiasco. Of course, there's an info card up over here. So today we want to reprime the oil pump and get that all done so we can get the intake manifold popped back on. If that's what today's episode's about, stick around till the end. I want to give you an update on some parts I've picked up and maybe where this is going after this episode. To make sure I didn't run into the same situation I did 3 weeks ago, I measured, cut, and created a little chipboard shield for the distributor hole for running my pump. After dumping yet another 5 quarts of oil into the intake valley, I then primed the pump, which is now going to allow me to install the intake manifold. When we got oil coming through the push rods, so that feels good. Took a while to get some to finally come out of cylinder number 1. I don't know why, it was the last one. But yeah, you can see, I'm guessing I probably should have cleaned out, soaked the push rods in like brake clean to clean out the inside of them. So oil's a little grosser in there, but that's all right. We're flushing it out, however you want to call it. So we'll hit the valley one more time with brake cleaner, all the surfaces that we're gonna put the intake manifold on, and then we'll set the intake manifold in here, and man, we'll get that together and torque it down. From there, you want to follow the recommended torque sequence as shown here on the intake manifold. And the goal is we're going to tighten it down to about 20 to 22 foot-pounds. So luckily I'm not too far in, and I discovered I did not have enough RTV here to seal the front side, so we're going to yank this off. Unfortunately, try to be as fast as we can, probably flip the manifold on its studs here, and see if we can't just build that up and then do this again. There we go, much better. I'll have to clean that up a little bit, of course, but saved it, so that feels good. We'll get to torquing those bolts down now. Alright, so today feels like one of those days where I really thought I was going to get more done than just the intake manifold, but I started about an hour late. However, I'm working about an hour later than I normally do, so I guess that's all I'll watch. But that included a trip to O'Reilly's to get more oil. Also, when I took my intake manifold this week to get hot tank dip at a machine shop, I took off all of the ported vacuum sensors ports off the intake manifold. Wasn't sure the plastic was going to make it through the hot tank dip, so I just took those fittings off to be safe, and well, I broke one of them, and so I had to go order one of those at O'Reilly's. So anyway, look, I'm very happy to have the intake manifold all done, because that's kind of a huge milestone. I mean, I think from here, a lot of things are going to go back together faster. One of the things high on my priority list moving forward is going to be to pressure test the cooling system. So I want to close the cooling system loop first, pressure test that, because if I have a leak, if say the water pump gasket, you know, we did replace the water pump on this a couple episodes back. You can put card up over here if you missed that. I'd rather troubleshoot that before I get everything on. And I honestly think, you know, for like test firing and stuff, I'm going to leave a couple things off, like maybe even the radiator fan, because I'm not going to like run it for more than 5 minutes or whatever on first startup. And the air conditioning pump, that was such a pain to take off. That's going to be the last thing that goes on. And it's just going to give me more clearance to dork around, do things like set timing, because the distributor little nut is so hard to get to when that air conditioning pump is on. Now let's talk about some of the parts I just picked up. Alright, so I suppose I should have opened that box first before I promised parts, but it's just this, it's just a tool, wire, spark plug wire crimping tool, because, well, this would have made it into last week's episode, but I realized it was getting way too long, and it's a 90-degree ceramic boot spark plug wire for the famed cylinder number 7 has the worst conflict of spark plug versus header, and the reason being, so Ford Racing performance parts used to make GT40P head specific headers that would fit Fox bodies, but then they just discontinued them. I don't know if, you know, just weren't selling enough to justify to keep making them or what, but so you can only find those used, and the people who have a set of used ones know that they're sort of like unicorns, and so long story short, I bought the BBK Shorty headers as, you know, like half price, brand new, as what a used set of GT40P specific Ford Racing performance part headers would be. So anyway, point is, the headers like the BBKs are made for like the E7 heads, and so the spark plug angle, much like my old Fairmont one, was different. So with the GT40P heads being a little more straight on the combustion chamber, there's just a conflict at cylinder number 7. It's not really a conflict as much as it's tight space. So you have to for sure run 90-degree boots. So I went ahead and purchased a ceramic boot just to be over the top, great and certain. However, here's what I think I'm gonna do. So this guy is gonna be my contingency plan, because if you see right here, it's like, and they all say you have to probably put your plugs in before your headers go on, but there's just not even enough to get this guy in with the headers on. So I think what I'm going to do is, this guy I will hold on to in case I do need it still over time. But if you take, let's just yank one off the distributor here. If you use a normal 90-degree, which that's what I thought was going to be in that Amazon box with the crimping tool, was a set of these. I can snake a normal 90-degree in here and get it on the plug. And so the reason why I went with the ceramic boot was because it's going to handle higher temp. I mean, I'm really close to 2 different tubes here. So what I'm going to end up doing is, I think I'm going to roll with this setup first, and I'm going to buy those heat wrap, you know, sleeves that go around each spark plug, and I think I'll be fine. I've read people have survived in that setup, so I'm going to do that. And then let's just say I'm wrong. Well, then the header will have to come off, and we will then put this guy on. But I just think that, you know, so we're not just setting one cylinder up with a different, you know, a wire that might have a little less resistance. You know, I'd rather keep things all equal, all the same. So anyway, my 45-degree boots just aren't going to work. I mean, they would work in a few, you know, on a few cylinders, but just to be safe, I'm just going to go ahead and, you know, you have to buy the 90-degree boots anyway in a set of 8. So I'm just going to change these all out to 90 degrees. And let me see what cylinder this is anyway. Oh, ironically, the one I pulled off, that was cylinder 7. That was dumb luck. But yeah, so that's kind of what's next coming down the pike, is get the spark plug wires all converted over to 90-degree ends, and then we can hook those up, which then means we can put gaskets on our headers, put our headers on for good. And then I still got to rebuild that carburetor, but I mean, if you want to catch updates in between episodes, I highly recommend you follow me on my social media accounts. Primarily Instagram is probably the best one, but you can find me on TikTok, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and like I said, you can kind of glean some information in between episodes if you're following me over there. All three of those platforms, I'm at Straight Six Fan. I also have a Facebook page. You can look up Straight Six Fan on Facebook. So that's just a great way to keep up to date on what I got going in between when I hit record. But if you want to get caught up on GT40P head swap and where we're at, I will leave the playlist over here to that. Otherwise, like, comment, share, subscribe. I don't really care which one you do, as long as you do one, it really helps out. That's going to do it for this episode, and until next time, peace out.